Hello everyone, my name is Shashank Jyoti. I am from Department of Physics, ISR, IPS Academy Indore, and today I am going to discuss Searle's method, which is an experimental technique to measure properties of a material. Basically, to be more specific, we are going to measure Young's modulus, shear modulus, and Poisson's ratio of a wire, which is this is the wire for which we are going to measure these quantities. So this apparatus is set. So what we are going to do is we are using two metallic rods, and so the more metallic rods are connected by this wire. Okay. So using this apparatus, we are going to measure the properties of this wire. So these two bars are just there to help us measure the properties of this wire, and the whole apparatus is hanged by these two threads. So most of our physics is going to happen on this level, on this plane, and these wires are just there for support. So if we are doing this experiment in let's say zero gravity, then we would not need these wires. We can just leave this apparatus here and perform the whole experiment. So I'm just going to just making clear that these wires have no significant use in our experiment. Okay. So first let me introduce the apparatus here. So I have already introduced you to the wire we are using. This is a simple aluminum wire. So for which we are going to measure the radius, length, and its mass probably. And these are the two steel bars which are painted gold somehow to just make them attractive. Then we are going to perform these measurements using this vernier caliper, which is an equipment to measure the length of small objects. So let's say we are going to measure the width of this rod using this vernier caliper. So what this does is comparable to normal scale, it provides us a more significant, more precise result of the length measurement. Okay. Similarly, to measure the radius of the wire, we are going to use screw gauge, which is even more, which gives us even more precise measurement of the radius. Okay. So we are going to note down the least count of these two instruments. And thirdly, we are going to use a stopwatch to measure the oscillations, to count the time period of this oscillations of these bar pendulum. Okay. So I have already mentioned, like, we are going to use some physical concepts. So first of which is oscillations. Okay. So since we are going to oscillate these objects and measure the time period of these objects, so let me introduce the oscillations. So we are discussing theory of this experiment. So in which first concept is oscillation, and to be more precise, we are going to assume that these oscillations are simple harmonic oscillations. Okay. So which is called simple harmonic motion. Okay. So simple harmonic motion, as you may already know, is defined as simply by a force which acts as minus of some constant k into x. So this k is some constant, and x is your displacement from the mean position. So let's say if you have a spring, and you have attached a mass m through it, and if you stretch it or compress it, let's say we are pulling it away and leave it at this position. So let's say we pull it for some distance x and then we left it. So what will happen is, obviously it will oscillate from here to here some length, and it will keep moving back and forth, right? So this is what we call oscillation. And if this spring we are using is an ideal spring, by ideal we mean that this k is always constant for this spring. If you no matter how much you stretch this spring, it will always come back. So those kind of properties are related to ideal springs. So ideal spring, sorry. So what we are going to do is, if this k remains always constant, and if this spring is an ideal spring, then the oscillations can be assumed to be a simple harmonic motion. So in that case, the force of the spring, the spring will apply on this mass will always be proportional to the displacement from the equilibrium position. So let's say this is our equilibrium position of the mass, and we have stretched it to this distance x. Okay, so the force of spring will be equal to minus k times of x. Okay, and as you can see that x will decrease as the spring try to go back to this equilibrium position. The x will decrease and the force will also decrease in magnitude. Okay, and just after it crosses the equilibrium position, it's going to compress the spring, and in that case the direction of x will change, and so the direction of force will also change. So when we were further away from the equilibrium this side, then the spring was pulling it back, but as we will cross this equilibrium position and the mass goes to this side, spring will start to push back. The direction of force will be changing. So that's how we define our simple harmonic motion. So if you want to solve this problem, so we have a simple equation of force, and if you want to solve this problem, we can just simply open it up. So force equal to mass times acceleration. So I'm going to write the acceleration in the form of d2x by dt2, which will be equal to minus of kx, and you can just transfer it this side, so it will be simply m d2x by dt2 plus kx equal to 0. Okay, and we can simplify, you can see this is a second order differential equation. So let me write it here. So we can just transfer this here, so we will get m d2x by dt2 plus kx equal to 0. So this is a simple second order equations. Okay, so we can further simplify it to this form, d2x by dt2 plus k by m x equals to 0. Okay, so in this case, if you can see this structure, this is the differential equation of simple harmonic motion. So we can say this is the simple harmonic motion differential equation, and we use this constant as omega, angular frequency. So what we do is we write this as d2x by dt2 plus omega square x equals to 0, where omega is angular frequency. Okay, or angular frequency, which will be given by omega equals to, you can say from here omega square equal to k by m, so omega will be equal to under root of k by m. So this is what simple harmonic motion is in brief. Like, to describe simple harmonic motion briefly, these are the essential quantities that you must know.